Welcome to an example in which we're simplifying this fraction, this trigonometric fraction, to a single trig function. Okay, so how are we going to do it? Well, one of the first things that's pretty tricky on this problem is you want to recognize that these two parts in the denominator, they have a common piece, meaning you can factor out a cosine of x, and maybe it'd help if I put a different color parenthesis there, and whoops, and that's going to leave on the inside a 1 minus cosine squared of x. Do you see that? Why does that happen? Well, if you remultiplied it, you see if I took that cosine and I multiplied, it'd go right back to this and this, wouldn't it? Right, if I redistributed it, cosine times 1 would be cosine, and cosine times cosine squared would be cosine cubed. So that's called factoring. When you take out what's in common, it's reverse distribution. Okay, so where does that leave us? Let me come down here. So that leaves us, the top hasn't changed. Top is still sine x, cosine x. The bottom is now cosine x on the outside and 1 minus cosine squared x on the inside. We good to there? And now we can cancel these guys out. Now you might say, wait a minute, Mr. Aaron, I could have done that way back here, just cancel them right there. No, you actually can't. I mean, you could, but it's illegal. The math cops will come for you. That's illegal procedure. It's important you to know it. That's, that's what I call the Costco rule. I call it that name. Nobody else does. But it just means adding, subtracting, glues items together, making them a package deal like Costco. You cannot break the glue, break the package. Let's just say it that way. You cannot break the glue bond. I'm writing break. Break the package. You cannot break the package, right? See, if you cancel this and this, you'd be breaking up this package on the bottom. These two are glued together. They're like shopping at Costco where they if you want to buy one milk, you can't. They plastic or glue together two milks. You buy both or you buy nothing. You can't break the package. That's what pluses and minuses are like in math. You can't cancel this and this because you're breaking up this package down here. Can't do it. But it's totally fine right here. Here and here, this is just times and this is just times. So I'm not breaking a plus or minus. It's adding and subtracting that's the glue. You can't break adding or subtracting, but you can break times. No big deal. That's not a glue bond. So there we go. So that's good. So where does that leave us? That brings us down here, and we have sine of x over 1 minus cosine squared of x. What are we going to do now? Well, it's really important that this jumps off the page for you. That's going to come up a lot. 1 minus cosine squared. We can go back up here, way up here, to our formula sheet. 1 minus cosine squared, there it is. It's sine squared. So you want to recognize when you see 1 minus sine squared and 1 minus cosine squared, see those are on our formula sheet. So 1 minus cosine squared is sine squared. So let's go back down. Where are we? There we are. So 1 minus cosine squared on the bottom there, that equals sine squared, right? All of this is just sine squared. And of course, we still have sine on the top. Put parentheses here. There we go. So now what happens? You know what happens when you have one sine on the top and 2 on the bottom. This one will cancel one of those, so we end up with 1 over sine x, don't we? You good with that? See that cancellation that happened at the end there? Leaves a 1 on the top. Now we can't leave it this way. They don't want a fraction. They want just one clean trig function. What is 1 over the sine? Back to our formula sheet. Back we go. 1 over sine, that's cosecant. So let's go do that. 1 over sine, that is just cosecant of x. And there we go. That's the answer they want on that problem. So what we see is all of this bore down and became that by simplification.